Hey everybody, it's Katie again with the Board Game Mechanics, and I'm here to bring my next installment of my top 100 games of all time. Today we're going to work on games 69 through 55. So this is my third video, so if you've missed from 100 up till now, check those two videos out on our YouTube channel. But today I'm going to start off with a game that is beautiful and intriguing, and I think a lot of people may think of it as gimmicky, but it is such a good game. And that is my number 69, Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. A lot of people, I think that the big gears on it are a gimmick, that that's just the whole reason why people get it. And you can paint them and make them look great, and that's fine. But the gears really bring that challenge to, okay, when do I want to take my worker off? How can I get the gear to turn enough, but not too much, to get the resources I need? Then you're trying to say, okay, do I want to build these buildings? Am I collecting enough to feed my people? A lot of stuff going on in this game. It's that great kind of next level. It's not a complete brain burner. We're not talking like Vital Lacerda level, but it's a good steady middle way, because there's lots of things to really keep your eye on and make really, I think, good choices. So that's my number 69, Tzolk'in. My number 68 is a party game, and it is one of my favorites, obviously. And that is Secret Hitler. I love this, the production of it, the way it looks, this old-timey. I love the wooden signs for the Chancellor. It's just a great game. Classic, self-seduction, hidden role. And I think a lot of people have been steering away from this game because of the theme. And the theme in no way glorifies Hitler or the Nazi Party or genocide. By no means. It's just, who is a pretty noted bad guy that we don't want to win? Well, Hitler would be a good one to choose. There's also Secret Voldemort. I mean, there's Hail Hydra. Lots of different ways to play this. Hitler is just a pretty common theme that most people have heard of. So it's great. You're deciding, okay, we don't want Hitler to get in to be the Chancellor. We don't want all these fascist policies to take over. That's if you're not Hitler. So liberal, everyone wants to play as liberal because we don't want anything bad to happen to us. But secretly, Hitler is trying to get his policy across, become Chancellor, take out some of the liberals, get his policies through. Really fun. When people get into it, it's awesome. My husband called me a lying piece of trash once during this game, and then ended up getting me killed because I knew he was Hitler. And nobody believed me. But that's what's the great about these kind of games. So that is my number 68, Secret Hitler. Number 67 is a pretty great entry game. And for me, this is kind of what started, I think, our board game collection, one of our earliest games in our collection, and that is Marc-André's Splendor. Splendor really, I mean, it's actually, this box is probably bigger than it needs to be. But there's something about that. The tactile poker chips with the gems on them, you're learning about contract fulfillment. You're almost kind of building an engine saying, okay, I'm going to buy this gem so that way later I won't need as many diamonds. Or it's just an easy and quick game that you can play. I always play several rounds of this every time I bring it out. But it just gives you that little entry into kind of hobby board games. And I would recommend this definitely for people looking to get into it. And there's something about the theme of like collecting gems, whatever, that I just really love. So that's my number 67, Splendor. My number 68 is a game that I was really, I think, late to the party to pick up. And I'd heard about it so many times. I'm like, oh, the cover kind of looks, but I mean, obviously I live with Jason, so we have lots of games whose covers are ugly because nearly every Euro that we love is hideous artwork. But my number 66 is Istanbul. Istanbul, again, is not a super heavy game, but you make really interesting choices in it. And I like this game because you're trying to collect gems. And I forget off the top of my head, this is terrible. 5? Do you need 5 gems maybe to win? The first, I forget the number. This is terrible. But you can go about it in a variety of ways. You can try to get a bunch of coins to pay for them. You can try to get all of one kind of good, a whole bunch of different kinds of goods. You know, expand your wheelbarrow. lots of different ways to do that, to go about getting that victory condition. And I really like that about games because I feel like I get to play the game I want to play it. The game is not dictating my gameplay for me. And that's what I think is so great about Istanbul. The hardest part is teaching people how to move, and you just have a stack of people and you just leave one behind as you move around. Not that difficult, just something a little different, introduces a new kind of mechanic, and that's why I think it's a great kind of next level game for people. So that's my number 66, Istanbul. My number 65 is a game that I love. Joel talks bad about this game all the time, and I think it's just because he was tired when he played it. I adore this game, and I've talked about how I'm a sucker for Japanese themed games and pretty games, and that is definitely what this is. And it is the game with the long title, The Legend of the Cherry Tree That Blossoms Every 10 Years. This is a kind of push your luck game. You're drawing out of a bag, you're drawing these really pretty cherry blossoms, and then you're making them into collections based on some basic rules. So once you learn how to work with your blossoms, you'll know the game for life. You're pulling these flower tokens out. You can keep some in front of your little screen, some go behind, and then at the end, you're looking at the collections that you've made and scoring points on those. Pretty simple, but you're always pushing your luck because you don't want to get too many of the same color. So it's very simply done. It's a game that you can easily play while chatting, drinks, whatever. But it's still, you have to make some choices. Like, am I going to stop? Where am I going to put these? Which one am I going to keep? And it's so, so pretty. So that's my number 65, Legend of the Cherry Tree That Blossoms Every 10 Years. My number 64 is an IP game. And I thought, oh, it's just going to be a stupid game. They just pasted on this theme that's for people to buy it. This game is so good. So my number 64, is Bob Ross, The Art of Chill game. Like many of you, I grew up watching Bob Ross on PBS, his happy little trees, his soothing voice, his awesome afro. So when I saw this game, I'm like, I freaking have to get that. But it's really fun. And it's a great gateway game also, because who doesn't love Bob Ross? Who doesn't know Bob Ross? But you're trying to do set collection. You're collecting the paints to be used in different paintings. You're rolling the dice to see how many actions and what kind of special actions you get each round. Bob can move, so you're trying to paint and get the most points before he gets further along. You're collecting some specific art supplies. It's a really fun game. Now, it's not, super intense. It doesn't require a ton of thought, but it is still really fun. You get to see all Bob's artwork. It's just a good game, and I love to introduce this to people who aren't into gaming because they totally get Bob Ross, and they get the basic set collection kind of turn taking, point. When do I get the most points? So when should I do this? Start kind of thinking along those strategic lines. So that is my number 64, Bob Ross. My number 63, if I had just seen this in the store, I never would have picked this game up. And a friend of ours brought it over, and thankfully I didn't see the box cover, or I probably wouldn't have liked it. Because my number 63 is Abyss. It looks like a really scary, this is very frightening to me. And the name Abyss, and I'm like, oh, it's probably like in space and aliens are fighting each other, but it's not. It's totally not. It's beautiful undersea artwork. Oh my gosh. The cards, the colors are gorgeous. And you have this really fun mechanic of, okay, I'm going to flip over these cards. If someone's going to take something out of the market, I get paid for it. The price goes up as it goes along. Pearls are the currency, which are really fun. And then I'm using them to buy these, or I guess recruit these lords to help get some kind of benefits, and then eventually get enough and to control these locations to win. Lots of fun, interesting decisions to be made, and the box kind of, I think, really does it no justice. So it is sometimes on sale because of that. I think people have stayed away from it, but it is a really great game. And so that's my number 63, Abyss. My number 62, I don't own. I've actually played several of my friends' copies, and I wish I did. I don't know if Jason will let me buy it because we have another game similar to it. So my number 62 is Between Two Castles. I really love Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which you'll see it later on the list because of that. Between Two Castles is really fun because it's like you get the great fun of building a castle and you get it twice. And you have someone to kind of help you with it. And so it kind of takes Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which I really like, and gives it an extra gamer level. Suddenly I'm concerned about how do I want to place this? Okay, these are the tiles that I have because it's kind of a drafting way that you get tiles and they're random. So you're just like, okay, this is what I'm going to get. How can I make the best of it? Where is that going to go? And each castle, you're going to get the lowest score. So you want to make sure you're equally building on both so that you don't have one that's super low scoring and the one's really high scoring, but you get no points for it. So I always love Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and this gives it that fun, like cooperative, but still semi-cooperative really, because my score still counts. So that's my number 62, Between Two Castles. My number 61 is a strange themed game, but it's so fun. And I think more people really need to play this game. And that is The Bloody Inn. The Bloody Inn is really cool. So like there's theme to it, like you're in France and like you've got this inn in this little village. And so you're really trying to get the most money out of the people that come to the inn, whether they're alive or dead. And actually them being dead sometimes really is in your favor. So you're getting people coming into your inn. You want them to stay in your room. So that gives you some money. You can kill them for some other money, but then you've got to bury them unless the police show up, because if they do, oh, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to have to pay some fines for it, because that's just not okay to just leave dead bodies lying around. So, and they have cards that have multi-uses, which I think is really cool, because you have to decide, do I want to play this for its effect, or do I want to keep it so that it can help me bury someone later? Am I going to use it as like currency to get me? And we also have the Carnies expansion, which adds another layer to it. It's a fun game. It's a cool game. It's really underrated by people. And I like to bring this out with people who've played all basic games, but most of them haven't played The Bloody Inn. And it's a really fun, like challenging, like you're pushing your luck almost, because you're like, if I kill this guy, that's going to give me some good points and stuff. But the cop might show up. Can I kill the cop off before he gets to me? It's a really fun, interesting game. My number 61, The Bloody Inn. My number 60, I also don't have, and it's a crying shame. I really thought we had this game. It's a cooperative game, which I don't love all the time, but I don't mind them. But my number 61, number 60. I'm terrible. But my number 60 is Rising 5. Rising 5 is really cool. The artwork is neat. It has like this loosely like fantasy theme where you're trying to open this portal, and it's cool because you're like working to go through these things, to get these different signs, to find out the right sign and get them in the right order in order to open the portal before everything gets blown up. The tension's there. It's a little bit different than a lot of other co-ops I have. You can use an app with it, or there's a way to use like it manually, but the app is really cool. It makes it really nice to check and see if you have the right rune, or I'm not sure what they call them, glyph or something, and whether or not you have it and if it's in the right order or not. So those two pieces are really key. So you have to get the 5 in the right order and have the right ones. It's a super fun game, and I really hope that we own it soon because it's great. So that's my number 60, Rising 5. My next game is a 2-player only, which you'll probably hear about, wink wink, on the podcast this week, and that is Hero Realms. I love deck building, and I also love D&D. So this is like kind of that nice in between where you have a character, it has some kind of special powers, and then you're just duking it out with your deck, trying to get good stuff, trying to attack the other person. I probably also love this because every time I play Jason, completely destroy him, like completely. But he also doesn't really like attacking games either. So I haven't played this as much as I would like to. We have the campaign version. We have not played it yet. He might like that better. I'm not sure. But this is a great little game. It doesn't take up a lot of room on a table, but it is super fun. So that is my number 59, Hero Realms. I like Hero Realms better because I don't like space. So if you like space, Star Realms is fine, but this is my jam, Hero Realms. My number 58 is a game I never thought I would like because it's kind of mathy, and I am terrible at math. There's a reason why I teach English. That game is Sentient. So it's not, I thought it was space themed, and I don't think it is. I think it's robot kind of themed, which I also don't like robots or mechs or any of that. But there's just a lot of cool decisions to make with this because you have to draft these bots and they do different things. And so, well, okay. So you got these bots, they do different things, and they dictate what numbers of dice need to go between them. So you have to very carefully say, okay, I got these dice. Now how can I fit them with these bots to make sure all my numbers work out? And so it's like brainy, puzzly, and when someone drafts the one that you want, you're like, oh man, come on. Like, it's just fun. So I was pleasantly surprised, and I've been wanting to drop this on my accountant sister because I think she would really like this game way more than me even. And I really like it because it's my number 58, Sentient. Number 57 is one of those ugly looking games, but it's a classic Euro. It's from Queen. It's called Fresco. And Fresco is really cool. I love the theme of it, painting like the Sistine Chapel. And so you've got this great like collecting, like set collection in some ways. The right paints to paint certain parts of the ceiling, but you're also mixing, you have to mix some paints to get the right color paints. So there's that extra element too. The great thing I think is really cool about this is the mechanic where you're programming when you want to wake up, which dictates like how expensive things are, your turn order, and then you're programming what you're going to do on your turn, how many times you're going to do a certain action, and they all go in a particular order. So you're not going to be able to mix paints before you get to paint. So are you ready to paint really? And if you don't paint now, what if someone takes that spot that you wanted to paint? Lots of fun decisions. I think it's a cool theme. Good mid-weight thinking kind of game. So that's my number 57, Fresco. My number 56, I don't own. We did, and then apparently we traded it because we don't play it that much. But it is Raiders of the North Sea. I also think that we're hoping to acquire Paladins in the future. So I guess Jason decided, okay, Champions of Midgard does some similar things, and I believe we will see that game later if we haven't already seen it. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. And we'll see that game later. Which is probably why we traded Raiders away. Not that they're exactly the same, but for me, they fill the same kind of itch a little bit. But Raiders has that really cool mechanic of you place one, you take one. And that dictates more than you think. So you're doing worker placement to get resources, but you're also then taking workers to get certain colors workers that maybe are needed for other spots later, to free up space so you can use later. So some of your decisions are based on just, okay, I need to clear off the space, so I'm just gonna have to take this person anyway, even if I don't really need what's there. And of course, Shem Phillips, awesome. It's great. That whole line of games is really great. So my number 56 is Raiders of the North Sea. And the last game for this segment is a game that one of my friends backed on Kickstarter. And it was the first time I'd ever heard of Kickstarter, really. And I thought, this sounds super risky. But we played the game. It was so fun. And we ended up buying it ourselves. And that game is Unfair. And I thought, okay, by the name Unfair, I'm like, oh, this game's going to be so mean. It's not going to like it. But it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon. If you are a 90s kid. Well, I was born in the 80s, but my formative years in the 90s, Roller Coaster Tycoon on PC and on some of the earlier gaming consoles was super fun. And I loved the idea of building my own park, and that's what Unfair is like. So it is that kind of fun thing, but you're also like saying, okay, there are only certain cards out there. What kind of theme do I want? Or, hey, can I make this, particular food stand have air conditioning and make it better? And you've got these secret goals that you're trying to work on too in the background. And then there's the reason it never gets mean for us is the cards that you can play to choose to be mean have a really great benefit for you if you don't choose the mean thing. So almost always we're like, yeah, I want to help out my park. I mean, yeah, I could knock somebody down a peg, but I really want this to make my park the best and to meet my goals, so I'm not even going to worry about it. One thing I like about this, I've introduced this to people who aren't super into games, and they've really enjoyed it because once you play that first round, everything's so clear. It has this really great round tracker, and not even just tracking the rounds, but tracking what happens during the rounds. So it's this awesome little like roller coaster car. And so it says exactly, okay, right now we're all gonna take a card. Okay, now we're gonna play one of those cards. All right, now we're all gonna do this. Okay, and then you have it really split out for you so you know what to expect for every round. You can plan ahead and make those other decisions easier as opposed to what am I doing in the game wise. It's really fun. I don't love a ton of CMON games, but I do really like this one. That is my number 55, Unfair. The 15 games we talked about today, I have to read off my list. Number 69 was Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. 68, Secret Hitler. 67, Splendor. 65, Legend of the Cherry Tree that blooms every 10 years. 64, Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. 63, Abyss. 62, Between Two Castles. 61, The Bloody Inn. 60, Rising 5. 59, Hero Realms. 58, Sentient. 57, Fresco. 56, Greater Than Our Sea, and number 55, Unfair. So thanks for watching this video. I try to make these short and sweet because I can ramble on and on about games, but there's still over half of the list. No, less than half the list. No, I can't do math, guys. More than half the list to go. So I tried to make it short and sweet, and hopefully I'll get the next video to you as soon as possible. Thanks everybody, and keep gaming.